I mute myself every. I've got a pop middle.
Welcome to Midday Repartee. I am Rata Glory, joined today by Scotland's greatest shit superhero and the UK's best shit artist, Captain Fuckhead. How you doing?
You've demoted me from ComicsGate's best shit artist to just the UK's best shit artist.
Oh, sorry about that. I gotta get it. I don't think I've ever nailed it. I don't think I've ever gotten the whole thing right in one
Not
go.
Once. Not once. But even I get it wrong sometimes.
All right. Well,
So,
that's fair. That's fair. And, it's possible that the people that were here waiting were treated to a bit of a fuckhead belch right as we started.
Oh, were they? Sorry. No. Sorry, not
It might have
sorry.
happened.
Not sorry.
I'm not sure. I don't know. We'll have to see.
If you are part of CG UK, the right way to follow that up is hail burps.
Yes.
Yeah,
I don't know. I feel like right as it went live. It was like maybe right before I started the video. It's possible.
Well, at least it's not a Commie Marks ending.
Oh right. Now there's a guy who always he has your intro down. I think Comic Mark.
Yeah,
Sometimes.
well, he's known it since before I've known it. Really, to be honest with you.
Gotcha.
He's been telling me to get an intro sorted for ages, and he kept telling me just look at my cover. So I did, and then that's where it came from.
Nice. Well, today, I tried to come up with a, kind of a fun, interesting, light topic, but, with everything going on, I just felt like, well, this is where my head's at. It's kind of a, heavy times. I'm just like, well, let's just talk about this. Let's just talk about what's going on. And with the riots in the U.S., it's kind of taken me aback because I've gotten out of the habit of engaging mainstream news. And, I haven't really looked at that stuff for quite some time. Surprisingly easy to just turn that off and not engage it. But the stuff's all over Twitter. And, seeing some pretty horrific, images of human beings getting brutalized, and it is something I want to talk about in connection to that is this whole idea that watching film violence or engaging violence in video games somehow desensitizes us to actual violence. Utter bullshit, because the moment I see something real like this, where an actual human being is getting hurt in a video, the feeling that it invokes, that it brings to the surface is, I'm not desensitized to like this at all. And I can't even tell you like how many hours of violence I've engaged in terms of film and video games. It doesn't desensitize. It's utter garbage. Do you agree with that, Captain Fuckhead?
I think the first time we met Rob was on a live stream, and you and Inkspots, and we had a quick chat, and I was a bit drunk, and it must have been about 5:30 in the morning. And I think, if my memory corrects, I said to you, never get into a fight unless you're willing to get blood on your hands.
Right.
If I remember correctly. I think I stormed off just shouting the word freedom and left. But yeah, like video games, violence on TV, no, that doesn't influence. I'm sure it influences some people, maybe to go and learn martial arts because they watched a Bruce Lee movie. Or somebody to go into the army because they, I don't know, read G.I. Joe as a comic. Well, there you go, look, G.I. Joe, army, who do we know who went down that route? But also doesn't like violence. Your boy, Zach.
Right.
No, I don't think seeing all that sort of stuff makes people, or a tendency to make people more violent or any of that sort of stuff. Yeah, it's just a weird thing that's going on, and I don't.
Yeah, I don't think it makes people more violent if they didn't already have the tendency, like that desire in them. And I don't think it desensitizes, because like I said, the moment I see something like that that's just real, the feeling it conjures is so visceral. It's like it's a really nasty sensation that it brings up, and that feeling doesn't happen when I'm watching a film or playing a game. It doesn't completely, the separation of, fiction and reality, it doesn't, they don't overlap. It's not, so I do, it's not desensitizing people to it. I can't believe what I'm seeing, and it's like, what has created this powder keg that is going off right now? It's complicated. I think it's been brewing for quite some time.
Yeah, this has been brewing for a long time. When you talk about desensitization as well, am I making words up again? Probably. I watched a video yesterday or today. Somebody got punched in the head from behind, knocked out, pure spark, gold. Like if you've seen this punch in the boxing match, everyone would be cheering. Yeah, wow, what a punch! And then some other fucking moron, as this guy was flat on the ground, came along and kicked him in his head, and his neck nearly snapped. It's that kind of powerful, it springs back, comes forward. And I couldn't believe what I was seeing.
Exactly.
Just couldn't believe it. And that was a horrible thing to see. And you're right, but my reaction was fuck. What the?
Oh man, it's just like I just don't.
Something else. I saw something else today where I actually cheered. It sounds terrible, but I did. I was like, yeah, you fucking, that's it. That's exactly how to react to all this shit. Somebody was driving, again in the States, someone was driving down the street somewhere or other. Everywhere looks the same in America to me, so I couldn't tell you where it was.
Right.
And somebody on a bicycle decided that they were going to have a fight with his car.
Yeah.
So he just very gently just tapped them, nudged them and said, look, if you want to fight a car, that's fine. And then loads of people started attacking the car, so he just drove off. Made the bicycle got smashed underneath the car. Obviously, the person didn't get run over by the car. They got shoved to the side, as like often happens in these kind of things. But in that, I was actually cheering. I was like, yeah, you know what? You shouldn't. Why are you going to stand there? Get out the car and take the beating and say thank you. Just leave.
Right.
Whatever it takes to get out of that situation. It's fight or flight.
Yeah. No, I get that. There's a very distinct difference between, when somebody's just asking for it and when it's just pure aggression that, man, I don't know, maybe this isn't everyone, but for me, it really brings something to the surface that it's so uncomfortable, and my reaction to it is just like, I don't know how people get in a state of mind where that's something that they feel like they should do or need to do or want to do. I just don't. I can't. It doesn't compute for me. So maybe I just don't have that thing in me. I don't know. But all of this stuff is really. I want to engage this too, because I don't. I'm not a big Testify fan. But what does that even mean? You guys bid on the wrong horse. And I'm assuming it has nothing to do with the topic we're talking about. I'm assuming this is some kind of CG related comment. I've bet on ComicsGate. What horse are you talking about, sir? So get the fuck out of here with that.
Bid or bet? Is it an auction?
I'm invested in ComicsGate. If you're talking about some other horse, I don't even know what you're talking about. So
to be fair, just wanted to let YouTube know, he said horse. The four-legged things, usually brown with a long face. Do they chase each other around a circular thing with little men riding on them? Not
Yeah.
the other word that you might confuse with that.
Yes. So anyway, here's something I kind of wanted to bring up. Like, we live in this time where a whole generation of people, maybe even almost 2 generations now, but certainly a whole generation in the U.S. and maybe all over the world, have been brought into a world where they're being told everything's ending. Like the Earth, because the proper action hasn't been taken for climate change, the whole thing is going to crash and burn. You don't have a future because the leadership hasn't acted. It's all coming to an end. And then there's that, overpopulation. It's all just shit. And this has been pumped in to this generation from the outset. All the inputs from their education system to Hollywood, cartoons, news. It's all telling them that the world is collapsing, that they don't have much of a future, that the people who came before them have completely failed them. And it's like, what do you think, what kind of narcissistic, what kind of nihilistic, attitude, fatalistic attitude is that going to create in people? I don't understand. Why are you going to tell young people they don't have a future? And then you expect them to behave well?
And go
This is utter bullshit. Inkspots, how you doing? Are you at home, sir?
Hey, I called in. I said I'm sick. My butthole hurts. I'm not coming into work today. So,
Ooh, well, I'm gonna avoid asking the obvious question there. Yeah.
yes, I am related to Preston Poulter.
And,
What's up, Captain Fuckhead?
I am good, sir. How are you?
So you guys are talking about all the crazy shit, huh?
Crazy shit. I feel like this is a powder keg that's, unfortunately, the way I kind of view the world these days, I feel like it's been, in a great deal of it has been manufactured, kind of cultivated, over the last 10, 15, 20 years. And then you throw a shutdown of the economy and people having to, all the stuff that they would normally engage to blow off steam and socialize completely stripped away. Here we are.
So are you going government conspiracy route? Do you think this is a giant social experiment to see how much pressure we can take or what?
I don't know. I don't know if it's government. I don't know. It's fuckhead's favorite, it's the they. It's the they.
Yeah.
But I would say it's just, there are people in this world, groups, organizations, whether that be government or something outside government, that there's a vision for the future of the earth, for the world. And you want to bring that future about with the least amount of resistance as possible. So you have to make things happen. And one way to reduce resistance from a population is to get them so distracted, or just I don't want to engage any of it. I'm just going to just let me do my own little thing here in my own little space. You guys do whatever you want out there. I don't care what you guys do. Just let me be in my own little space. And, you have a disengaged culture. You have a frustrated culture. You have a generation that thinks the world is ending. It's a fucking powder keg.
Yeah. I think I want to go live with Commie Mark in his utopia, his dream utopia.
Yeah.
It's looking good every day. It's looking better. So
This is the first time I've actually seen Spotty live, and now the ukulele and the songs all make perfect sense.
oh yeah, I'm a redneck hick, man.
Yeah.
From my voice, you would think that I'm a guy that goes to a gay bar, but no, I'm a redneck hick. So opposite. My voice is opposite of my face.
Yeah, it's pretty interesting. I would love to have known. It would have been fun to maybe before you ever showed yourself on camera to have an art contest. What does ink spots look like?
Yeah.
That would have been good. Yeah, I don't know, guys.
Cecil's southern cousin. Sorry.
So how is it where you're living, Rotten? Do you guys have I'm in Arizona, and they just issued a curfew 8 p.m. because of some supposed riots in Phoenix, which is about 100 miles away from me. So are you under similar guidelines there, or what?
No, it's a fairly small, it's a fairly small town. I don't know, like the whole population spread out over is maybe 100,000, probably less. It's not a concentrated big city environment, so I don't feel like that's too much of a concern.
The problem here is if this starts happening where I live, some motherfuckers are gonna get killed, man, because everybody has a gun here. Everybody. I mean,
right.
These guys are gonna defend their businesses. That's there's gonna be more chaos if it starts here. So hopefully not. I mean, seems I don't get the. Listen, I don't believe this is a racial thing whatsoever. I believe this is a murder thing. You know what? Because there was cops of all ethnicities there on the scene. This is a case of a police officer overstepping his boundaries and flat out murdering another human being. Now,
yes.
I'm not saying that there isn't some cops that are racist, but what I am saying is this. I'm pretty damn sure this happens to people that are white and Mexican all the time.
Yep.
But why is it every time it's a person of color, the first thing we go to, it's because he was black.
Right.
Why isn't it because the police officer was corrupt, or because the guy that the police officer said to stop didn't do what the police officer said, and the police officer got too rough? I mean, there's probably blame on both sides of this thing. We're obviously not hearing everything that happened. We see this horrific video about what happened with a guy begging for his mother. To me, it's just a brutal case of murder. I mean, the guy was murdered, and the guy that did it needs to face justice, just like every other person in the United States. What good does it do to go out and create more havoc and create more problem? I believe this happened only because we got this quarantine going on. People were locked up in their houses. They don't have anything else to think about, then you have this issue come along, and now they got something to occupy their minds because they're not going to work. They're stuck in the house. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah. It's just a perfect storm, of things converging. And it's really heartbreaking to see it, and of course, different people have different motivations. Some people just maybe enjoy the chaos, just want to go out there and contribute to chaos. I think that's a small percentage of people. I think the majority of people really just, have something they believe in, and they're trying to do what they feel is right. And then it would appear that there are people, and I don't know how organized this is or what, but there seems to be evidence that maybe people connected to Antifa other groups are they're giving, setting up weapons or breaking up cement so people have things to throw. Maybe just smashing windows to get things started. It's like there seems to be an underlying let's get this party going, folks, and then it escalates, and the cops are obviously going to react to that with aggression, and then it just ratchets up. It's, I don't know what to think. I have to step back and say I'm not I haven't immersed myself in this. I haven't done a whole lot of research into it because I've disconnected from that, doing that. But this one is I just felt we should talk about it a little bit. How you doing, Scotsman?
Annoyed.
Okay, go on.
Yeah. I'm more than annoyed. I'm just kind of when I see people getting hurt this way, the way it's happening, I don't know, man. It really has this
I just
crazy impact on me.
I'm pretty famous here too as a plumber.
Yes, you got the local write up, man.
Hell yeah, man.
That's how you do it.
no one has the right to destroy other people's property, no matter how mad they are.
Amen. I agree
Yeah.
with you too. If someone breaks into my house, they're going to be going right back out of my house with a 10-gauge shotgun size hole through their chest. And I won't go to jail for it because I'm defending my property and my home, and you're endangering my life. So stay at home, deal with your own shit that you're dealing with in your life instead of trying to take it out on someone else. What good is stealing? What gives you stealing someone else's property? How is that solving any problems? You're using the people that are looting are making an excuse to go commit crimes, and they're like, I'm committing a crime because of my upbringing, or I'm committing a crime because I don't feel like I have the same rights as the rest of society, and that just doesn't fly, guys. That just doesn't fly.
Okay.
Anti-capitalist groups exist all over the world. They literally infest the minds of the youth, and they corrupt them into believing that the world is ultimately against them, and they need to rise up and destroy any structure that exists and turn it into what they think the world should be, and that's just not. I don't know. This the other day on Russian Troll Factory, Commie Mark discovered that he's a libertarian.
Right. Inadvertently, he thought he was just doing this fun little thing. It'd be funny, but yeah.
Right.
That
although
was
left wing, he discovered he's liberty minded, which is the antithesis of communism. And these anti-fascists, interestingly enough, are proving themselves to be in fact fascists.
Yes.
So,
no question.
In my opinion, all uneducated and ridiculous as it may be, I don't believe that any one person or any group has the right to take from, destroy the liberty or property of another. Now, this cop that killed this black guy, killed him, is not only ignorant as to physics and the fact that if you cut the blood off to somebody's brain, they're going to die. A lot of cops are ignorant, but not all.
No,
not all. The bottom line is, everybody always says, well, they need more training. No, what they do need more training. They need to they need to understand how to grapple. I think every cop should learn Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, because when you get caught in a choke, you learn very quick that cutting off the air is not the problem. Whenever you start losing consciousness due to lack of blood to the brain, you learn really quick what the carotid artery is and how to protect it. Yeah. And if this fucking dickhead knew and understood that, he would have maybe released the pressure on his neck, and the guy would be alive today.
Well, I find, at least where I am, I mean, yes, there's good police officers. Listen, I'm anti-authority all the way around, man. I hate someone telling me what to do.
Same here, brother.
I always feel like I live in a free country that has no freedom. You're free, but you have to do this. You're required to do this. You must do this. And I find that a lot of these police officers are police officers because, I don't know, whatever, in school they got bullied. And now they feel tough. Maybe a lot of them are, if you look at a lot of police officers, they're actually smaller stature men. They're short men that feel like they don't have the respect that they wanted or something in life. And so now now they have some kind of authority. A lot of people in power are drawn to that because now they have some kind of authority. They're getting to make up for something in their lives that they didn't have, a feeling of not having power or whatever. And so, yeah, there are bad cops. I've been pulled over by really bad police officers that are just, fucking dickheads, or had to deal with fucking dickheads before. But you got to face it. When you need a cop, you need a cop. When something bad's going down, you need someone that's trained to handle that situation. But maybe they need to have more frequent mental health checks on these guys. And, vet them a little more. What's your motivation for being a police officer? Maybe you shouldn't be a police officer.
In Latin, tyrannus dominandi. It is the psychological condition, the need to dominate.
Yeah.
The tyrannical need to dominate. People who go into government, people who become police officers, a lot of them possess this tendency.
Yeah.
And it's a psychological trait. And
it seems like it could be fairly easy to pinpoint in advance, right?
Well, possibly, but I mean, you look at people who, like I said, become politicians. A lot of times, they're the same people that want to make up the what is it? The board that manages housing community. What are they called? You know what I'm talking about? Like every housing community has like
homeowners.
Oh yeah, dude. Oh, tyrants through and through.
Who get onto the homeowners.
You can't have green garbage cans. You can't have green garbage cans.
Right. They are. A lot of them are petty, extremely domineering people that have never had power or control of anything in their life, and this is their one shot. It's something that a lot of people have, and honestly, I am disgusted with all the shit that's going on. I side completely with people who want to be free and don't want to be killed by police officers. But I depart from you quickly when you think it's okay to destroy property that doesn't belong to you.
Or steal, yeah.
Or steal, correct.
Yeah.
And there is no justification for it.
Because people have worked hard for that shit. They work just as hard as you have worked your whole life. I mean, you don't just go take... I think a good philosophy in life is leave other people alone and don't take their stuff. And I think that's like magic to live by right there.
It really is. It's the core tenet of being a civilized human.
Yeah.
Understanding that you not just treat other people with respect or treat others how you want to be treated. It's a situation where parents are unleashing ignorant little monsters on our society.
Yeah.
Because they don't fucking raise them right. I'm not saying I don't spank my kids. I never have had to. But I do threaten them. Don't make me look bad. You do whatever you want in life. Be whoever you want to be. But don't make me look bad. You when you're in public, you have good manners. You say yes, sir, no, sir, yes, ma'am, no, ma'am, please and thank you. My boy rushes to the front door to grab the door and open it for my wife and his sister. I have made sure that young man has learned to respect not just women, but everyone around him and their property.
Yeah.
And it's something that we've got a lot of really self-important, ignorant youth that think they know fucking everything.
Yeah, and they've been told that everyone that has come before them has failed them completely, and the world is ending. The sky is falling. They don't have a future, and they're super fatalistic about it and nihilistic. And all of these things combined, you create an incredibly entitled human being that doesn't have discipline and has also been told that their future is already ruined. What do you think the outcome of that, all of that combined, is going to be? I think we're starting to see it right now.
Well, we have organized terror cells that are all over the United States that are conscripting the youth, lying to them, building into their brains this corrupted cancer that they need to take to the streets and to destroy America. That is something that has to stop. These little Antifa fuckers, they need to be rounded up and thrown into Guantanamo. And I'm a libertarian, and I don't say that lightly.
Right.
You deserve to lose your liberty whenever you want to subvert the society that is given the most freedom to literally anyone for all of ever. Fuck you.
Yeah.
And your fucking blue hair.
And why is justice skipped over when it comes to these riots and stuff? Why do these people get away with this?
Right.
Just because you get away with it just because you're doing it in mass. No, every one of you should be. Yeah, you're all going to face consequences.
Right, with all the cameras and surveillance, and how many of these, they're caught on camera.
The
Some
police
of them
officers
could probably
should
be identified.
Yeah.
It's like,
Yeah.
why wouldn't there be a repercussion for it?
Yeah, you shouldn't get away with it. When it's all over, you round these suckers up. You find every single one of them, and they pay for what they've done.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I think that's only fair. The rest of us have to live by these rules, these tenets in our lives. You have to live by those too. You're not special just because your skin's a different color or you grew up in a different background. Hell, I grew up with parents that were both drug addicts. My father spent 5 years in prison for hauling drugs across the border. I mean, I lived in a freaking trailer park. I mean, never had enough to eat when I was growing up, believe it or not now. But yeah, I mean, I grew up just as white trash as probably a lot of the black kids in the ghetto do. I mean, I was part of that family that everybody talked about in town. They knew my family. They knew my dad dealt the drugs, and and so I grew up and I decided to do something else with my life. I made a decision on how my life was going to go. My brothers both did the same thing. They went the opposite direction. One of my brothers both went to jail, and so you can't blame how you were raised on your actions. You're your own person. Whatever you make decisions that's direct the course of your life. So.
That's true. I agree with that. But if you have a majority of a country,
fuck you, El Gargoyle.
Yeah, I was wondering if you were going to hit on that.
I mean, it's,
not everybody is. Not everybody's capable of stepping back or stepping up to the plate and taking responsibility like you have for yourself and your future. And it's almost, we're kind of in a culture where that's almost not even encouraged. Playing the victim card it's like the gold card, right? These days, it's of such value. It's been raised to this status of like the best thing you can be is a victim. So this isn't, all of these factors, man, are just contributing to a state of mind, a way of being that is quite horrifying, to be honest.
Well, you're getting mixed messages when you're growing up, too. You can be anything you want. All men are created equal. And then when you see someone else getting an opportunity that you can't get, you feel like, well, I'm supposed to be equal to that person. So can't I have that same opportunity? The truth is not all men are created equal.
It's a corruption
at all. It's not. We're all given certain talents in our life, and we got to pursue those talents that we're given, but not all of us are equal. Some of us are dumb as rocks. Some of us are smart. Some of us are plumbers. That's just...
A plumber in disguise, an incredible creative talent who likes to turn wrenches. Well, wants to stop turning wrenches. No, every human being is an hourglass filled with sand, and that sand is going to flow. And every grain of sand inside of that hourglass can be exchanged for currency. And it's all relative to what you've been imbued with by the universe as far as talents. And a lot of those talents can be honed and refined, increasing the sand in your hourglass. When you choose to pour it out through effort and labor, you can make that more valuable. And it's all based on effort and a little bit of dumb luck and a good starting point. Mm-hmm. Not everyone is locked into failure. You can come out of it. I mean, I was the product of 2 drug addicted teen parents. Their marriage failed. My grandfather was an alcoholic who beat my grandmother, you know what I mean? And I lived with my mother at their house, then she met my stepdad and things changed for me. So, it's, that lasted into my early teens, you know what I'm saying? So, I mean, I'm not saying my life was horrible, but it wasn't great.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know. Did you have like a figure in your life that became like your moral compass? For me, it was my grandfather.
My stepdad.
He was so my grandfather was a Catholic, and he instilled moral values in me where my parents did not. And he showed me what work ethic was, and how he was such a good person that I think that rubbed off on me, and tried to.
Yeah.
I'm not saying I'm a great person, but he gave me a moral compass to live by, and I think that's what a lot of these young men are missing in their lives.
Yeah, see, my stepdad met my mother, got her pregnant, and there comes my sister, and they got married. And my stepdad was on track to become a veterinarian. He loves animals, wanted to be a vet, and because he got my mother pregnant, he dropped out of college. He'd been a straight A student since birth, and he ended up getting 3 jobs. He was a janitor, a school bus driver, and a cook, a short order cook. He worked 3 fucking jobs. And then my mother, being the drug addict that she was, bailed. And he raised me.
Man,
and so through that, watching his example of sacrifice, I changed my last name to his name so that my son would have it.
Wow.
Yeah, dude, that is quite a story. That's really cool, man. And
that's where
it kind of crystallizes for me too, is that you can have all these horrible inputs. Let's say you have, a bunch of people that are not, they're having a negative impact on you, but often it only takes that one standout, that one stand-up individual that you come in contact with that can change everything.
Yep.
And I think it's so important for all of us to understand that you can be that one person for someone. You can be that for other people. And it's like, I don't know. That's just, these stories are really, they're cool stories, man. I appreciate that you're willing to share it with people.
Well, I mean, I could have turned out to be a racist pretty easily. I grew up in an area that was very heavily Latino. I used to get jumped all the fucking time. I got chased home from school literally all the time. People trying to take my skateboard from me for no other reason other than the fact that I was one of the only white kids. But I didn't.
That's the same with me. My stepfather was full-grown racist, man. My stepfather had a bomb shelter full of guns because he thought black people were going to take over the world. So I could have. I mean, I should have been a racist, but that's not.
That sounds oddly familiar. Where have I heard that idea before?
Yeah.
Oh man.
I don't know, man. I've learned to treat every person as an individual. You know what I mean? I mean, to relate it back to comics, I'm friends with a lot of war campaigners. I'm never going to break my friendship with them until they screw me over personally.
Yeah.
Right.
Regardless of the standing with ComicsGate.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just not that guy.
Yeah. I get that.
I'm not going to let anybody tell me who to be friends with. I'm not going to let anybody tell me what race I can associate with, what president I can vote for, what I disagree with in society. I'm never going to be a victim. I'm the product of my decisions. And so I'm going to make sure my kids understand that and become the same, as close to my example as I can possibly make them. But because, they're going to be their own people. But my kids will know about the Constitution. They know about liberty, and they understand what it's like to be free. And I'm never going to let them become corrupted if I can fucking bear it. If I can keep it from happening, I will die in the process. Nice, I'm not going to unleash some monsters onto society.
Well, you are part of the solution, for sure. It's what we need, man. If we had more of that going in, leading into this, this wouldn't be happening, honestly. I really don't.
Man, Captain Fuckhead's completely quiet, man. He's not. What's going on, bro?
He's just like, fuck it. I'm having.
He's a whole different culture, though.
He's like, you fucking Yanks want to know about oppression? I have a queen that I didn't vote for.
Fuck the queen.
He's like, I didn't know I was coming on Dr. Phil today. What the fuck is going on?
It went down that road a little bit there, didn't it?
It goes where it goes, man.
To be fair, I mean, both Rotten Scotsmen are huge personalities when they appear on any YouTube. And Scots, you have a tendency to use word after word after word after.
Sorry, brother.
No. Look, it's fine. Like, I'm certainly not complaining. I was sitting here paying attention. I was listening with both ears because. I'm wearing headphones.
Just admit it. You were drawing dicks.
No, I've not been drawing at all. I was just fapping.
Oddly
right,
enough,
well.
I am a good listener as well.
I know you are. I'm aware of that.
Yeah, I don't find that odd. I've always.
But I
I've
do
always,
run my yap. I will say that.
I think
Fair
it's
enough.
as a conversation,
dude.
it's a tricky one because there's a couple of things I wanted to point on. First of all, when you mentioned Antifa about 3 days ago, Rot, they had a tweet out not long ago. I think it was late yesterday evening, calling for people to move outside of the cities and start attacking suburbia. I don't want to
Bring
talk
it on,
any more about
dum-dums.
that because if they do that, they're in a hell of a lot of fucking trouble.
Yeah.
Oh my.
I think you also talked about specifically, I think Spots, you brought it up about black people being the ones that are reported to get killed by the police. You're absolutely right. It's not just black people who get killed by the police. It's the people who get killed by the police.
Yep.
But I think one of the biggest problems you have in the States is you are the epitome, the home of sensationalist media. And of course, all that media has an agenda in which they need to report on certain things. And that happens to be, what do they call it? A gaslight, I think is what you like to call it.
Yep.
The quicker you can get your control over the media and get them back to being at least mildly balanced reporting or journalism, that would help a hell of a lot.
Now, Captain Fuckhead, do you think that that's why in the UK that there doesn't seem to be like this racial problem?
No, there is.
Over
No,
there?
there is. It's
Is
still
there?
here.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
When it comes to racism, I don't think it's something you can ever stop. I think some people are going to be inherently racist, others are not. I think you put a black man in a white country, some of those people in that country are not going to like him. You put a white man in a black country, and the same thing is going to happen. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter what the perspective is. Wherever you are, this thing is a thing that exists, and humans have always had it. We've had it for almost millennia, I would guess now. Humans like to attack each other for whatever the fucking reason is. It's part of our nature to be aggressive, defensive, but then aggressive.
I've always thought we should all intermate until we're all just a nice even shade of brown. And then we'll be all right.
Working on it, bro. Working on it.
A nice note on that. So Brazil, before, because it used to be Brazilian Portuguese, I believe now it's just Brazilian, so it may have changed. But when it was Brazilian Portuguese, they had, I think it was just over 80 different words to describe a brown person because there was that many shades. So
Damn.
It's happening.
It's still Portuguese.
This thing is happening. Like it's dissipating, but it takes certain places of doing it more than others, which is a weird thing. I also think there's a problem with education. I think it was Scott, you brought it up. We are told, certainly from a religious perspective, at a very young age, that all men are created equal, and we should deserve respect and give respect on both sides. But unfortunately, certainly you were talking about talent as well. But a lot of the education system now isn't designed to source that talent, feed that talent, and grow that talent. It's designed to grow the mass number of people to the average standard of education so that they can operate and serve the system that they are going into, which is another huge fucking problem. And then
obedient little citizens.
See, I have been paying full attention. And on your other note, you were talking about entitlement. Don't know if you saw this, Scott. You might have done. Spotty, you might have seen it too. And any animators out there, I probably guess you might have seen it. I think quite recently there was a young woman who worked for Disney. When she got the job, she was interviewed, and in her interview, in this video that she put out, she said when she went to the interview, she'd already been given other job offers. So she was a bit nonchalant about it. She was like, "Well, look, I don't really need the job. I can go and work somewhere else." You know that kind of attitude. It doesn't really matter. They gave her the job anyway because of the standard of her work, which baffles me, because if your standard of your work is good enough, particularly from a portfolio perspective, you're only interviewing the person to see what sort of person they are, so they got that wrong straight away. But she's since left Disney, citing that nobody would give her any respect. Nobody would. She said that there was a woman who was high up in Disney. When she went to her first board meeting, she put her hand out to shake this woman's hand. The woman turned around and went, "Who are you?" She sat down in this meeting and everybody stared at her because she's the new girl. And I wonder why Disney aren't giving her the showrunner's job that she wants, because she wants to direct and animate her own film, which is one of the reasons why she went to work to Disney. She got a little bit pissed off that she wasn't given the opportunity because she's only just started, quit, and then went onto YouTube to complain about it, had an interview done, and said, I'm just going to start my own business instead, because I can always go back to working in the industry if I can't make this work. I urge the industry, if she ever comes back for a job, say no. Make
I
remember.
I think I remember when that hit, and it's just
I do. Yeah, I do remember.
Can you not? Yeah, to not have an understanding of earning respect.
Yeah,
as opposed to it just being like, when did this go away? You know, I'm not saying there should be mutual respect between coworkers, you know, at a base level. Obviously, I'm not saying like you should go into work your first day and get spit on. I'm just saying, like, if you're talking about a different kind of respect, a respect where you can be trusted to helm something of that, you know, that caliber, that size. It's like, to expect that right out of the gate is lunacy.
Prove yourself.
Lunacy.
My grandmother used to take me to the zoo often, because I used to, obviously, when I lived down south, I used to come up here every single holiday. I'd get dropped off, picked back up. We used to go to the zoo very often. And she used to tell me, the one thing you learn first as a zookeeper is how to clean up shit.
Yeah. Same thing with plumbing. You're going to be digging a lot of damn holes before we let you go fix something and cause problems.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I mean, it just seems so common sense. Like, obviously, you have to earn that trust and respect. I don't even see, like, what you think it should just be an automatic because you went to school or something?
Yeah.
Like, you've got to be kidding me.
Well, during the interview, she did. I believe she also talked about how her parents wanted her to go to a very prestigious art school, but she decided she wanted to go somewhere else, so they didn't help her financially. She was one of them.
Wow.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah, my college years were. Oh wait, I didn't have any. It was like, oh, you're 15. Get the fuck out of the house if you don't like it. So
right.
Yeah, I was on my own at 15 years old, man, working 2 jobs and paying for community college on my own, man. So I mean, I don't have a lot of sympathy for these people that are whiners that don't help themselves. I don't. I mean, I decided I wanted to go a certain route. I went that route. It didn't work out great for me, but I made my own decisions and blazed my own path, and that's what people need to do. So,
and you still are, you're still doing that.
I want to add to that from Spotty there. I think one of the things is worth saying as well, because some people do work their ass off. Ass. There you go. To the American, there's no R in your ass. There's not enough junk in your trunks. You need to add an extra letter in there. It doesn't matter how long you spend working your ass off or whatever it is you're doing. At some point, even if you're 40 years old, you still have the opportunity and potential to make life-changing decisions.
Yes.
One thing I will say when it comes to decisions, I don't think human beings are particularly well practiced in them. So I hear people talk about strength, having a strength to make a decision and all that kind of stuff. I don't actually believe in strength and will and that kind of thing. It's not something that I subscribe to at all. For me, if you make a decision, the decision is made. If you make a decision and renege on it, you never made the decision in the first place. It was just all hot air.
Yeah.
Right.
When you make a decision to do something, then you just fucking do it. There's no fucking going. You can't go back on it because it's a decision. You know what I mean? And I think another thing that I find tricky with a lot of the stuff that's going on at the moment is the way that language is used. I think language is changing constantly, and it should. It's a good thing. But again, people have lost the understanding of what making a decision is, being responsible is, and all these kind of things. These kind of key words that are just being shoved in a drawer somewhere, and no one's paying any of them attention, but they're really fucking important.
Yeah, I mean, when you say that it's a good thing that language changes, are you sure? Maybe
Yeah,
everybody there should be like a concrete like base level of what words mean, and people should be given that foundation so we can, communication is never
Okay, so,
it's hard enough as it is, but if they're constantly tweaking with these words and shifting the psychology of what they mean and not giving people the tools to even understand the words they're using, I mean, this is a real problem.
it is. I can answer that from three perspectives. The first one I would say is all this fucking text talk, the fucking just the Romloff, whatever fucking, this sort of shit fucking talk on the internet and texting. I fucking hate that. Just say the fucking word. Like
there's no context behind it. I mean, you could say the same words and it means different things depending on if you're talking to somebody personally. If I just type something out or text it, that person is taking what I mean and then they're drawing their own conclusions on what I meant by it.
Yeah.
With no facial expression.
Yeah, exactly.
Attached to it.
And what I would say, you may put that argument forward that you don't have enough characters. Then if you don't have enough characters, you don't know how to say the thing you want to say. That's one thing I love about Twitter, especially for me as a dip lipstick. It forces me to edit the things that I want to say and be more concise. And I don't think enough people do that on Twitter. So the second perspective I will give you is from a dick lipstick's perspective. If anyone doesn't know what a dick lipstick is, I am one. It's a dyslexic. So I love fucking definitions of words, and I love it when they don't fucking change because it means I can understand what the fuck is going on.
Yeah.
But here's from a slightly another perspective. I also live with someone who is quite creative, particularly with words. If words didn't evolve and change, it becomes a lot more difficult to do things like prose skillfully, and you know what I mean. So there's lots of different perspectives that you can take to answer that question. But from a communication perspective, from just normal the transfer of idea, you're absolutely right. It should be kept. There should be a standard.
Yeah.
Well, you have dialects and colloquialisms and things that shift and evolve over time. There are pejoratives that people take back and turn positive. You know what I mean? There's all of that is just the natural progression of language and how we communicate with one another. And I completely agree with you that having a base understanding of what the words mean helps everybody communicate better. And one of the biggest causes of strife and conflict is just miscommunication.
I don't know. Maybe it's the biggest cause of conflict is a certain group of people that knows how to use that language more effectively than the other people, than the other side, and use that as warfare.
True.
They can stir up an army from nothing by changing what something means. Yeah.
Can I just wanted to touch on the policeman thing that you brought up again earlier, Inks, because I was being very quiet. Look, I've got all the words now. A little big man is something we would describe that as in Scotland.
Yeah.
But what I was having this thought earlier on, and it almost paralysed me because you'd look at politics and the military. So these are both big positions of power. So if you're a politician, particularly here, you can be a politician for as long as you want. But you're in charge of something. If you're the prime minister or if you're the president, you can only be there for a certain number. So particularly in the US, you can only serve 2 terms. In the UK, I think it's 3 terms, I believe. But there's a limit to the term you can serve. In the military, I believe it's a 4-year service, and then you can renew if you want, if you're still stable enough to go back in, and then you can keep doing that. But there's constant checks and reapplying and all that sort of stuff. In the police, I don't see any of that. And I can also imagine that if you are a police officer who started off as a beat cop, 25 years later, you're still a beat cop, how fucking bitter and angry and twisted will you be that your career might not have gone anywhere?
Right, yeah.
It might be a justification at some point to say, if you're going to be a policeman, you want to be a policeman, here's the term you serve, this is it. After that, you go somewhere else.
Right. I did forget there was something I wanted to bring up, it ties right in with this, but police officers all day every day, like all they're doing is going to the worst possible scenario, the worst human behavior.
Yep.
Every day, all day long. That's what they're encountering, the worst behavior. Constantly having to deal with that. And it's like, maybe, I don't know what this looks like or how it would be achieved, but maybe there should be some kind of rotation aspect to being a police officer where that's just not what you do all day, every day. Maybe there are other tasks that police could be engaged in that actually, where they interact with positive things, positive behavior. So they get, it's not just a constant barrage of this is what humanity is. I mean, it's got to, like you're saying, it's got to have this mental impact over time.
Absolutely.
That's just crushing.
Well, listen, I'm just a plumber, but I deal with the public constantly. And I know that when I was younger, I was completely different. But now that I've been doing this for 22, 25 years, whatever the fuck it is now, I pretty much have come to the conclusion that all people are fucking assholes.
Right.
And I can only imagine all I do is go to these people's house and fix plumbing for them. And I got to deal with them that they a little ball-faced lie to like my boss about what happened or about the bill. I can only imagine having to go like discipline people for a living. That's your job, is to spank people. It's your job to that's your job. And I can only imagine how fucking you must hate people after the end. I can only imagine 20 years as a cop. You must just hate everybody. I mean, because you've seen the worst in humanity.
I mean, Scott's will know because he's a smart bloke. I mean, I'm just a moron.
Oh, I'm with you, mate.
To be fair. But what was that? You'll know what it was. I can't remember the top of my head. There was Experiment Run, was it the 70s? They've done it several times since. They did it again in the 90s. Where they took two sets of normal people. One was a prisoner, one was a guard, and the guards just fucking all went psycho.
The Stanford Prison Experiment, something like that.
Something like that. Yeah. It was
where how quickly the mentality, the students randomly chosen to be the guards fell into that role.
Oh yeah, that was
even
crazy,
though there was it was just like no reason for it just naturally happened.
But that's what we do. That's what we do with police officers.
Yeah.
The only difference with police officers is we fucking train them first.
Yeah, I mean, I noticed it with the shutdown, with COVID. It's like going to stores that had they decided to have really strict rules about customers and how things are supposed to be, and certain employees, given just that tiny amount of authority over people, just became tyrants, like assholes.
I fucking lost it in Home Depot because they have 6 doors and you're only allowed to go out one. And so I almost went out the wrong door, and this little woman just starts yelling at me. And I'm like, where the I fucking flipped out. I'm like, this isn't fucking communist China, you fucking bitch. I'm like, it's like, I'm so sick of, you give people power and they just try to rule over you. It's just, maybe it's just ingrained in our DNA. I don't know, but I see it happen all the time too. Like every company I've ever worked at, as a plumber, whenever there was a woman that was put in charge of the men that were out doing the service calls, it's like she grew bigger balls than all of us and just decided to fucking rule over us with a fucking concrete fist. And every job I ever quit was because I had to work underneath a woman who had, I don't know, it's like she had this power trip, and it's like I can't deal with this, So, I mean, you give somebody power, especially someone, if they feel like they don't have no power in their life, I think they take it too far, Maybe they don't have power anywhere else in their lives, but they have power in this one area. So
and I think, it goes back to what Scotsman had brought up earlier, that there's just this kind of psychological component to some people where they just, if they want that, they just want to have that authority, that power over people, and it's just kind of there. It's embedded in them, and some of us don't have it.
Dominandi.
Yeah, there it is. He's always got the terminology. But I don't feel like I've ever had that. I don't want, it's not a desire I have to have that kind of physical dominating power over people. It doesn't interest me.
You're more of the denominatum.
The
I'm
not a
tyrannical
pacifist.
need
I'm not a
to
fucking
dominate.
like pacifist. If somebody steps to, or there's a legitimate threat, I'm not gonna back down from that. But I don't feel a desire to seek it out.
I kind of
It
feel like
doesn't
when I
interest me.
was a business owner, I didn't have that. I wasn't authoritative enough. And so that's
Yeah.
why things probably went bad for me. I think you have to have a little bit of that you have to have at least a little bit of that to run a business or in positions of authority, but you can take it way too far.
Yeah, I think that's a lot of what you're saying is what's happening now. I mean, one thing I would say about power and organization is, as humans, we've always done that. This is going back a lot longer than the US has even fucking existed. Like, this is going back.
That's not very long.
Yeah, it's not. This is going back millennia.
Yeah.
It's always been that way. We've always organized ourselves into groups under leaders.
Yeah, even in
done that.
monkey packs, man, there's always one monkey over the other monkeys,
Yep.
baby.
And those packs attack each other over territory all the fucking time. People think chimpanzees are vicious fucking animals.
Oh, yeah.
They are fucking
Right.
evil little things when they're in the mood for a fight. They
Oh.
won't just fight because they also eat meat. When they eat meat, it tends to be other fucking chimpanzees.
Well, one of the things they do, one of their military tactics is whenever chimpanzees fight, they attack the males and rip the genitals off, so they can't procreate if they happen to survive.
Whew.
So they completely annihilate another tribe of chimps that they're fighting with. They're incapable
Wow.
of reproducing. Yeah.
Well, that may be the problem with society, is because we've bred out the ball ripping and the cannibalism. If we brought back ball ripping and cannibalism, maybe people would behave better.
Yeah, interesting.
I think you're onto
thought.
something.
Yeah.
So what you're saying is, next time there's a riot, we're going to have a riot barbecue.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Big
Hell
sticks
yeah.
up their asses and roast
We're going to
them on
barbecue
fire.
balls. We're going to rip the
Yeah.
balls off and throw them on the bobby.
Urban Rocky Mountain oysters.
I think the other thing that I've got to say on these riots as well is the weird thing about humanity is, I honestly think that I've seen lots of the footage. I've seen a lot of, and there's always seems to be a lot of people there, and there will be a core group that start this thing, and they will start it because they think they don't have any power. This is a way of gaining power. Like, I like to chop up wood and burn stuff like that. That is the thing that I go to when I need to relax. Just go and set a fucking fire, and I just sit there and watch it. And I've got control over it. I can put it out whenever I want. I can feed it whenever I want. And it's nice. It satisfies me. But there'll also be a lot of these people who don't know what the riot's for, don't know what's going on. They won't know who started it, why they started it. They'll just go, oh, look, somebody's smashing stuff. That looks like fun. Let's go and have a go.
Well, I feel like there's a lot of that, like, Joker mentality involved in this particular scenario, where it's just like, it's just about the chaos. It's just literally, they're not necessarily driven by, let's make a better world, let's burn this down and make something better. It's just like, they're just that, let's burn this down. And it's not because they already think the world is probably ending. It's already too late to fix anything. It's gone too far. Let's just burn it down. Like, I don't know.
Yeah, I kind of understand, like, a story from when I was a kid. I was probably like 10 or 12. I saw these other kids, and they were throwing these big boulders at this guy's. He had an old antique car parked in his back of his house, and they were throwing these boulders at the windshield. And so, for some reason, I thought, it's going to be fun. I'm going to go. So I started throwing boulders too. Turns out I was the only one that got caught. And so I had to work all summer to pay for that windshield in this antique car, because it was like a lot of money. And so I had to work for, my dad made a deal where I had to work for this guy to pay off that windshield. And that kind of taught me, it taught me a pretty big lesson in life. Things have a cost to them. So I kind of get, like, it was like that, oh, this looks like fun, I'm going to do this. And you're not thinking about the consequences. So that definitely was the life lessons for me. And some people, I guess, they never learn that life lesson.
Yeah, right. I think that's one of the problems with riots, as it were, because in that small sort of microcosm, as an example you give there, Spots, it's easy to catch somebody. You know what I mean? Whereas now, with all the technology we have and the CCTV and all that sort of shit, I guarantee you most of those rioters get unpunished. Even the ones that caused either grievous bodily harm or actual violence on other people's property, I guarantee a lot of them will not even... they'll never hear about it from authorities or from anyone else again.
Well, part of it is some of the authorities in the places in which they're rioting are on board with it. Like Bill de Blasio, his daughter got arrested for being part of the violent protest, and he cheered her on. He's the mayor of New York City.
Wow. See, that's
I mean?
This is where it's just like, this feels like, okay, this is again, it's just like social engineering. This seems like
Problem, reaction, solution.
Exactly.
It's how
so
the
now
state
it's like,
grows.
okay, now we need more. See what happens when we're not in absolute
We
control.
need to take some of your freedom away now. It's like
Yep,
you're
exactly.
gonna trade your freedom for a false sense of security. That's what you're doing.
Yeah.
When they really don't have any power over us at all. Isn't it funny how we let a small number of people rule over us when there's so many of us? But we're like cattle. We allow it's
very interesting.
It's very
the
interesting.
illusion of freedom.
Yeah. Well, shit. I didn't especially want to talk about this today. I just honestly couldn't. My brain wouldn't go anywhere else. It just felt so heavy and so pressing. It was like, well, I just let go of it and like, let's just have a conversation. I really appreciate that you guys you're just, so thoughtful about it, and, it didn't turn into some nasty thing. And that's why I appreciate this Midday Repartee show. People are they bring a lot of really great ideas and thoughts to the table, and I appreciate that.
But you know why it didn't turn nasty? Because
Why is
you don't have somebody who supports what's going on the show.
Right. Well, that's true. I mean, it was. I dropped the link in. Anyone was welcome to come in. If someone that felt that way came in, it would have gone where it went. It probably would have gotten a little heated.
Well, most of the people that would agree with this are actually cowards, so I'm not surprised.
Yeah, I'm not either.
Because they don't have a big group of people they can rush and hide back into. Like you watch, Antifa has specific terrorist tactics. They have people who are there to stir up shit, get people to react. Then there's a person behind that who comes forward to commit the violence. They have the weapon in their hands. And then there's people who engulf that person and bring them back into the crowd so that they're confused to who actually did the violence. That's their tactic. It's guerrilla warfare. And it's known. People know that their handbooks are out there. You can get your hands on one. It's not. Yeah,
it's really becoming. Yeah, it is becoming, and I think a lot more people are, through what's happening now, are becoming very hyper aware of it.
Yeah, that's the thing for me. Like, I don't block a lot of people on Twitter. I very rarely block or mute people. If you retweet Antifa, if you got an Antifa flag on your shit, and I see it, you are instantly blocked. I don't want to interact with you in any way. I don't want you to read what I write. I don't want to see you. I don't want to know you. You're gone. Because you have been corrupted to unless you depart from that, you're corrupted past the point where I can even see you as a pure human being.
Yeah, so, I can't really disagree with that, man.
I don't wish you ill. I'm not going to do harm to you, but I don't want to be anywhere near you or you near me.
Right. Okay, on that note, Captain Fuckhead, anything you want to promote?
Okay. So tonight is episode 2, the third, but episode 2 of ComicsGate Live's Fan Hour.
Yes, I love that show, man. Love it.
As some of you may already know, that involves 3 fingers of whiskey and a couple of beers. Tonight, who have we got on? I've got to remember now because we did have Mr. Von Klaus.
Narwhal?
This evening. We have not. Well, my co-host this evening is Charlie's London because my idea is to have a co-host from the UK every week. But I've got Narwhal coming on. We have Fresher Luke, and we have I'm going to butcher his name, but I believe Rob Muerto. I can't say that properly. I'll guess I'll learn the
This is
secret.
a Tales from the Classroom guy.
That's the guy, Tales from the Classroom. Yep. I've not met Fresher Luke or Rob before, so it's going to be interesting just from that dynamic. And of course, we'll get a couple of guys in the chat to come in and shill a book. But everybody on the show is there for one purpose and one purpose only, and that is to shill somebody else's book.
Yes. Very nice. Yeah, everybody check out that show, engage it. It's really good. You know, it's called Fans Hour, but it's more like Fans 3 hours. I would say. So
It goes on. And then on Thursday, I have Sade Comics. Both shows are 5 p.m. Eastern.
nice. Scotsman, what you got?
Subscribe to my YouTube channel if you want. I appreciate that. Back Xenotype if you haven't yet, and look at all the other ComicsGate projects right now. Everybody needs some support.
Absolutely, man. Yeah, and the Xenotype link is down below. I've got everybody's links in there. You're welcome, man. Thanks for being here. I always appreciate. Are you at work right now, Scott?
I am.
All right. Well, doubly appreciate you coming
Capitalist swine.
That's right.
Ink Spot's a really nice surprise that you were. I know the true reason you called in to work is just because you wanted to be on Midday Repartee.
Actually, no. The main reason is I got some new cash grab pages that I'm coloring, and I want to get those knocked out. So
Nice.
yeah, cash grab is in demand right now. If you want to back that, also a couple other projects. The Lost Pages came out. If you guys would back that, as well as Vestige 2 came out yesterday. So be sure to grab a copy of that and support ComicsGate creators.
Hell yeah.
Right on. And I want to thank the chat for being here. Contributed a lot of good shit to the conversation. As always, I appreciate you being here. And we will. Hold on a sec. Are we doing F Monday tonight, or is that off for at least
Couple
for the
weeks
time
off.
being? Okay.
Couple weeks off. Yep.
All right. Well, I might hang out with Lucius on a live stream on his channel.
I told him I might come on too. We might go on
back.
Lucius' stream today.
The Lucius stream. We were trying to get his thing going, and he's actually really fun to hang out with on his stream. He always has questions, and he drives it. And
He's smart. He's smarter than I thought he would be.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, thanks for being here, guys, and we will catch you tomorrow.
Biden 2020.